and welcome to We Women Want. This is our weekly show where we explore issues related to women. We celebrate the achievers. We try and find solutions for those in need. It could be a health issue. It could be an issue related to domestic abuse. It could be an issue at work ethic issue. It could be, something even as trivial as, what kind of a profession does today's India want? What do today's India young women think about marriage, for instance, relationships? That's all we discuss here. But today we're going to be, since we are heading into the festive season, that is a season where there is a lot of feasting and a lot of fasting also. The Navratras are also coming up. So to discuss that, some health tips, and also just go beyond that also. Tips on good eating, healthy diet, what should, especially for women in particular, because women go through, we have various stages. There is, the puberty, then there is a stage where the woman is expecting, then there is, of course, the menopause age. So at each stage, what are, the tips just to keep your bones healthy, yourself healthy, and keep your gut going? That's what we're going to discuss on today's show. Joining me is a panel of experts. I have Dr. Priya Bahulyan. She is the medical officer at the Kerala Ayurvedic Limited, Delhi branch. Dr. Ishi Khosla, clinical nutritionist at the Center of Dietary Counseling, and also the founder president of Celia Society. And Dr. Neeru Sen, she's an acutherapist, she's a diabetes educator, and someone who deals with joint pains. Dr. Ishi, you must be getting a lot of people now. Are the clients decreasing during festive season, or they come afterwards when the deed is done?
Well, usually the rush is afterwards, after they're feasted, but also now before, because they're getting ready for it. So they all want to look at their best and look perfect. So yeah, today
So that is another consideration. We all
yeah.
want to look good. So now that we have enough time to prepare, it's been about 2-3 weeks. So what are the tips that you would tell?
So I would just say that this should be a lifestyle rather than just doing it in fits and spurts and looking at 1 or 2 milestones. It's just good to be consistent with your body, because that's when it behaves the best. And body means everything from head to toe, inside out, your skin and your body shape and everything. So I first would emphasize that learn to make good choices of food consistently. And it doesn't mean that good choices are very bad tasting, or they don't have to mean your favorite foods. It can be a part of your regime and how to entertain yourself and have your favorite foods without their conflicting. So food and food practices both need to be looked at. So I always say, what you eat is important, how much you eat is important, how you eat is important, when you eat is important, how you digest is important, and what you don't eat is important. So it's like everything put together. And rather than making it very complicated, if I just say simply that you can just make very intelligent choices by normal food, just ensure, and everybody knows those things, that you eat vegetables, fruits, eat early. Today, that's also a message which has gone in very effectively. And also ensure that you eat at the right time of the day. Don't eat late at night. Whatever you want to eat, eat along with the sun. I think the Ayurvedic expert would resonate with that. So all of that, and at least 50 to 60% of your food should be vegetables, and divide the rest with grains and proteins, and which is, it could be animal protein or it could be plant protein, whatever you like. And now the biggest game changer is what we have seen in our practice is the grain choices. What you eat in terms of what you choose to eat as a grain. A grain really means cereal, your roti, chapati, different kinds of flours, millets or rice, or similar, staples, as we say. So what do you make as a choice? How much you have of that, number of portions, number of times in a day, and when you eat it. So if you're able to fix this, and typically we say each meal has to have a nudge. No, if you are fighting fat, or you're trying to trim down your belly for your festive season, you may not have it at all. You can give it up. You can have it in one meal. You can have it at lunch or dinner or at breakfast, but have it in the early part of the day, and make the right portions also. If you don't have to have those 2 chapatis, अगर एक ही काफी है तो एक ही लो, तो ऐसे करके, तो number of times and the portions, and that's a game changer. बाकी तो हमारे अपनी डाइट में दाल सब्जी वगैरह तो है ही, we don't have to talk about it, it's inherent in our diet. And add to that boosters, add the sprouts, add the amlas, add the haldis and all the good things which help to detox. Have good fats, ghee khao, virgin coconut oil khao, use healthy fats in the kitchen. have nuts and seeds and, as snacks, makhane khao.
Ah.
So, it's really not rocket science. We made it into very complicated science, but the actual action and the actual intervention is not difficult if you don't complicate it.
That's very nicely put also. And but Dr. Priya, yourself also, anything extra that you would tell, being an Ayurvedic doctor, or just for just good healthy eating tips.
Yeah, so see, this is festive season and we're talking about feasting, fasting, right? So since she's talked about what we need to eat and all, let's talk about the health aspects of fasting, which is
Okay,
coming
good
through,
idea.
right? So in Ayurveda, it's called Upavasa. So Upa means near, Vasa means to stay. To stay close to God is what it is. It is not about eating. It's nothing got to do with eating, basically. So this fasting, again, it is a practice where we eat very minimal, right? We're giving a rest to our digestive system. So ideally, in Ayurvedic perspective and scientifically, there are benefits to it. So what it does is, eventually as we age and all, there are certain cells which become very weak, right? And these cells, they start sending inflammatory reactions in the body. They send chemicals showing there is heaviness in the body, redness, lethargy. I mean, we all feel it at some point in time. So this fasting that we do intermittently or once in a while, this instigates the autophagy in the body. Autophagy means our body has a system wherein we clear our own cells, right? It's a self-repair procedure. We always say fasting is detoxifying, it is cleansing. So what is it doing actually? Like, so it is actually a self-cleansing process where the cells, they look inwards. So when this autophagy is instigated, what happens is it first goes and attacks the weak cells in the body, right? And those weak cells are removed. So the inflammation gradually comes down. And then you are repairing and rejuvenating, and all that energy is used to heal your system. So this fasting is going to heal, detoxify your entire system. And in Navratri, especially, we're talking about festivals, so we do it twice in a year, right? When there is a seasonal change, if you observe it, like once when it is winter to the transition to the summer season, and once when it is again going back to the winter season.
Right.
So this is a time when your immune system is a little shaky. You can fall prone to diseases and everything. So ideally, you do this fasting to detoxify your system so that you are prepared for that weather change and to not fall prey to diseases. So that's what ideally, scientifically, when you talk about it, it does to your body. Then again, coming to the psychological aspect of it, when you're fasting, you are having a closeness to the Almighty. Your concentration is better. You have a mental clarity of what you want to do. So you connect better. Your prayers are more deep and authentic when you do it. That's why around the religious grounds, in every religion for that matter, Hinduism, Christianity, even if it is Muslim, around the festival they do it because your body is clean, your mind is clean, your focus on the God is more pure. So that's what the idea of it is.
Dr. Nita, I have noticed that a lot of people, if they're going for a, important meeting or a trip, they say we actually fast before that. It helps us think clearly. So that's why is that? Apart from why it detoxifies you, is it?
मैम एक्चुअली जैसे हमें बाहर जाना है, कहीं भी
हाँ.
जाना है, हम घर से क्या खा के निकल रहे हैं, क्योंकि फास्टिंग है, अच्छी बात है फास्टिंग करना, लेकिन फास्टिंग को भी किस तरीके से किया जाए, बहुत सारे लोग अवेयर नहीं हैं, तो हमें उसी अवेयरनेस के ऊपर काम करना चाहिए। जैसे कि मैं अपने जो हमारे व्यूवर्स हमें देख रहे हैं, मैं उनको बताना चाहूँगी कि फास्टिंग के टाइम पे आपको वो चीज़ लेनी है जो आपके पेट में हैवीपन तो लाए, मतलब भर ले, लेकिन बार बार ना खाने की जरूरत पड़े, ऐसी चीज़ों पे हमें काम करना चाहिए। आलू ज़्यादातर लोग यूज़ करते हैं और बहुत सारे लोगों को एक दिमाग में ये रहता है कि आलू मोटा करता है, लेकिन मैं बताना चाहती हूँ आलू जो है वो पित्त शामक है, पित्त को बाहर निकालने में बहुत हेल्प करता है। तो पेट में जो गर्मी बनती है उसको अगर हमें कम करना है तो हम उबले हुए आलू खा सकते हैं। अच्छा। लेकिन उसको डीप फ्राई कर रहे हैं या अदर उसको पैटर्न्स दे रहे हैं तो वो चीज़ ठीक नहीं है, तो हमें उन चीज़ों पे काम करना चाहिए। आजकल आपने एक शब्द सुना होगा एयर फ्रायर, हाँ, आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा यूज़ हो रहा है और हमें अवेयर होना चाहिए। इवन बहुत सारी पब्लिक ऐसी है जो यूज़ नहीं करती, जिन्हें ये वर्ड भी शायद उन लोगों के लिए नया होगा, तो हमें एयर फ्रायर्स को यूज़ करना चाहिए। और हमें आलू को अगर हम एयर फ्राई करके खाते हैं तो शायद इट्स मोर हेल्दी रादर देन कि हम डीप फ्राई करके खाएं, तो वो हेल्थी भी रहता है। और प्लस अगर आप आउटिंग के लिए कहीं भी जा रहे हैं, मीटिंग्स के लिए जा रहे हैं, किसी प्रोग्राम में जा रहे हैं, या आप सुबह कुछ चाय लेके, ज़्यादातर लोगों को देखा होगा फास्टिंग में सुबह एक गिलास चाय पी और लेकर के वो लोग निकल जाते हैं, तो हमें कोशिश ये करनी चाहिए कि खाली आप चाय ना लें, क्योंकि वो सारा दिन पेट में आपके एसिड बनाती है, जिससे हैवीनेस तो आएगी, आप शाम तक आते आते लेजी हो जाएंगे। अच्छा। तो उस लेजीपन को दूर करने के लिए सबसे बेस्ट है कि आप सुबह के टाइम कुछ ड्राई फ्रूट्स ले सकते हैं या कुछ फ्रूट्स आप खाकर निकलिए, वो पूरा दिन आपकी एक एनर्जी को बैलेंस करता है, क्योंकि फ्रूट्स के अंदर आपके शुगर लेवल को मेंटेन करने के लिए फ्रुक्टोज वहाँ पर रहता है, तो इट्स मोर हेल्पफुल।
ओके, नो दैट्स बट ऑल्सो एक होती है इंटरमिटेंट फास्टिंग, तो उसमें तो हम कुछ खा ही नहीं सकते सुबह तक, सो फिर उसके लिए क्या लें टू कीप योर एनर्जी गोइंग फॉर द डे?
मैम आप लिक्विड ले सकते हैं, आप हैवी कुछ मत लीजिए, जूस ले सकते हैं, आप पानी ले सकते हैं। पानी तो अपने आप में ही पूर्ण माना जाता है, वो एक बेस्ट मतलब थेरेपी का काम भी करता है। तो आप जो आपका बैलेंस ऑफ वाटर है वो आप अपनी बॉडी का अगर मेंटेन रखते हैं तो आपको हैवीनेस नहीं आएगी, थकान नहीं होगी, आप फ्रेश फील करेंगे। क्योंकि कई बार आपने बहुत सारे लोगों में देखा होगा, सुबह सुबह कुछ खा लिया और फिर पूरा दिन वो आलस में रहते हैं।
हाँ,
तो अगर आप सुबह से लिक्विड पे रहेंगे तो आपको आलस नहीं आएगा और वो पूरा दिन हैवीनेस नहीं रहेगी बिल्कुल भी। तो
that's so drink water in the morning and don't have too much heavy foods at night. So the eating window is very little actually.
Yeah, I think we all can do with that.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, Priya, the question that you raised was very interesting. That why do you get mental clarity, or why
yeah.
do you feel better overall
After
sense of after fasting? Is also the elimination of inflammatory foods from your system. When you fast, you typically alter the grains. You are having pseudo millets or some very simple grains or rice, or you are having vegetables, or you're having fruits. So all the processed food and all the trigger foods which typically cause a problem to the gut microbiome, they don't exist in the diet, and that is what leads to a signal, and the signal is from the gut to the brain. There is a happy gut, your brain will function better, and all parameters, not only just mood and mental clarity, but overall, the sense of well-being is heightened, and the clarity of mind, all that is there. And my patients tell us that, oh, we did intermittent, or we did a keto diet. Not that I'm recommending keto, but when you change your food, you reduce the carbs and the wrong carbs, you immediately feel the difference in your brain. And then they say they ate wrong, it disappeared. So the connection between what you eat and your gut and your brain are very clear. So in fasting, you're removing all those toxins.
But let's also get back to the women show. So any tips for women? Foods that women in particular should want to eat, Priya, because there are also women का कहते हैं bones. थोड़ा we have to be careful of them. Have more calcium or whatever. Some.
Yeah, right. I think we've discussed that, like when the structure of men and women, it's definitely different, right? So women, because we go through a lot of hormonal changes during different phases of life, our nutrition requirement is a little different when compared to men. We all need nutrition, but the way we need to look at our nutrition requirement, it has to be way beyond your perimenopausal time or after menopause. It has to be from your teenage time, because there are a lot of patients, in teenage groups who come with iron deficiency. There are, hair fall, a lot of hair fall, for instance. So it's a nutrition deficiency. We know what it is. So certain foods like dried raisins, black sesame seeds, these help in building up the iron storage in the body. So they're menstruating, like especially teenage girls. Now we have early puberty. Like at the age of, earlier it used to be 13, 14, now it's at the age of 9, 10 that there's menstruation also. So that requirement has to be met. A lot of nutrition in the form of seeds, as I said, there are a lot of green leafy vegetables, carrots, a lot of cooked food also. Sometimes what happens is during the start of your menstrual period, a lot of raw salads. We stress a lot on salads, but too much of raw salads can itself cause some bloating, if your digestion is weak. So a lot of cooked foods, fresh foods, not the processed ones. So it has to be made a habit, especially in young girls. When it comes to perimenopausal time, again, you have an issue with your bone all the time, right? So again, this kala til that we keep stressing on. So all the patients, I tell them, even for men or women, this is a one go-to thing you need to include in your daily diet in the quantity required. It shouldn't be overdone. It's too heating for the body. So it has to be done in the required quantity. Rest of the dairy, it depends on your choice also. So some of them are vegetarian, so you have other options. If you're non-vegetarian, you have a set of other foods like red meat and liver, but most of the people don't take it. So depending on what condition you are, what is your health status, and how is your digestive capacity, that's the main thing. It's not what you eat, it's mostly what you digest that determines your health. So you need to watch for all that.
Okay, I'm going to take a break and come back and take off from the last sentence, digestive capacity. So how do you increase your digestive capacity, or your whatever is it, metabolic rate, whatever is the right word for it? But how do you do, focus on that, what you can eat, it gets digested fast and doesn't really translate into fat? That is something which I think Dr. Neeru may have something to tell us about after a very quick break. Hello and welcome back to We Women Want. We're here discussing dietary tips. It is the festive season and the fasting and the feasting season. But before that, I remember once Dr. Neeru, आपने बताया the importance of saliva and why we have to keep chewing our food. So how do we improve our digestion? उसके बारे में
लास्ट टाइम हम लोगों ने भी शेयर किया था कि सलाइवा जो है वो बहुत हेल्प करता है, लेकिन मैं उसके साथ साथ एक चीज़ बताना चाहूँगी, जो आपके 6 रस होते हैं, अगर हम आयुर्वेदा में जाते हैं तो उसमें 6 रस की बात की जाती है, और 6 रस जो हैं वो आपकी बॉडी में बैलेंस होने चाहिए। अगर एक भी रस आप कम ले रहे हैं या ज़्यादा ले रहे हैं तो उस सिनेरियो में आपने कभी भी देखा होगा कि कुछ लोगों को फूड पॉइजनिंग हो जाती है, या कुछ लोगों को कॉन्स्टिपेशन हो जाती है, या किसी किसी को हाइपर एसिडिटी हो जाती है। तो वो सारी चीज़ें हमारे डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम की वीकनेस को शो करती है। तो ऐसी कंडीशंस में हमें थोड़ा सा अवेयर रहना चाहिए। सबको पता है कि नेचुरल चीज़ें खानी चाहिए, लेकिन नेचुरल चीज़ें किसको कितनी और किस तरह से खानी चाहिए बहुत सारे लोगों को नहीं पता। तो उसकी अवेयरनेस एक तो बहुत ज़रूरी होती है। सेकंड थिंग, मैम ने बहुत सारी चीज़ें बताई हैं, उसमें एक दो चीज़ें मैं इंक्लूड करके चलूँगी। एक सिंपल सी और छोटी सी आइटम है आंवला। अगर आप डेली रूटीन में एक आंवला खाना शुरू करें, किसी भी सीजन में, आप ड्राई फॉर्म में खा सकते हैं, आप बॉईल करके खा सकते हैं, आप रॉ फॉर्म में खा सकते हैं। अगर आप डेली आंवला खाना शुरू करें, आपकी लीवर की फंक्शनिंग बहुत अच्छी होती है और आपकी गट हेल्थ को इम्प्रूव करने में वो बहुत हेल्प करता है। तो एक मतलब फीमेल्स के लिए भी वरदान है एक तरह से, आंवला ले सकते हैं। सेकंड थिंग इज, अभी जो सीजन चल रहा है, क्योंकि फेस्टिव सीजन तो है ही, इस सीजन के अंदर आपने देखा होगा मार्केट में जो सबसे सस्ता फल जो इस टाइम मिल रहा है वो है सिंघाड़ा, और बहुत रिजनेबल रेट पे अवेलेबल है। उसमें कैल्शियम बहुत अच्छी क्वांटिटी में होता है। आप सिंघाड़े की आप इनटेकिंग कीजिए इस सीज़न में, खास तौर से फेस्टिवल्स में, नवरात्रिस में। वो आपके कैल्शियम को तो रिकवर करता ही है, साथ ही साथ आपकी बोन्स को मजबूत बनाता है, आपकी गट हेल्थ को इम्प्रूव करने में हेल्प करता है। क्योंकि जहाँ तक हम लोगों ने देखा है, पेशेंट्स पे भी देख रहे हैं हम लोग, बाकी हम जनरल पब्लिक के साथ जैसे टॉक होती है तब भी बात होती है, कि जो कैल्शियम हम टेबलेट फॉर्म में खाते हैं वो हमारी बॉडी उसे प्रॉपर ऑब्जर्व नहीं कर पाती। लेकिन अगर हम नेचुरल फॉर्म में कैल्शियम को लेते हैं तो इट्स मोर हेल्पफुल फॉर आवर बोन्स, फॉर आवर बॉडी। इवन हमारी जो छोटे छोटे रिक्वायरमेंट्स है कैल्शियम की बॉडी में, जगह जगह पे आपने देखा होगा बहुत सारे लोगों को नी पेन आ रहा है, जॉइंट पेन आ रहा है, या उनका डाइजेशन जो है वो प्रॉपर नहीं है। उसका कहीं ना कहीं कारण यही है कि हम टैबलेट फॉर्म या फूड सप्लीमेंट्स की तरफ जाते हैं ज़्यादातर लोग। तो मच बेटर है कि आप वहाँ ना जाके नेचर की तरफ आइए। नेचर के आप जितना पास रहेंगे आपकी हेल्थ उतनी ही इम्प्रूव होती है, आपका डाइजेशन इम्प्रूव होता है। और डाइजेशन के लिए सेकंड थिंग, अभी नवरात्रि, जैसे कि नवरात्रि स्पेशल आपने ये प्रोग्राम रखा है, तो आई वांट टू शेयर कि बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस है। इट इज़ नॉट नेसेसरी कि आप डीप फ्राई करके कुट्टू के पकोड़े खाएं। कुट्टू आप यूज़ कीजिए क्योंकि वो हैवी है, देर तक पेट में टिकता है, देर से हजम होता है। लेकिन उसके साथ अगर ऑप्शनल में आप लेना चाहें तो राजगीरा बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है, जो कि आप आटा फॉर्म में रोटी बना के खा सकते हैं, आप सिंपली उसको राइस की तरह बना के खा सकते हैं, आप चुलाई यूज़ कर सकते हैं, आप समा के चावल यूज़ कर सकते हैं। तो ये सब चीज़ें हैं जो ऑप्शनल हैं आपके पास रिप्लेस करने के लिए चीज़ों को, और वैरायटी ऑफ फूड्स भी आपको मिलते हैं। तो वो भी आपके गट हेल्थ को इम्प्रूव करने में, जो अब डेली में हम रोटी खाएं तो वो कहीं ना कहीं एक टेस्ट चेंज करने वाली बात है। तो जो आपकी सलाइवा है वो उस चीज़ों की रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से कम या ज़्यादा होती है। आप खट्टा खाएंगे तो आपने देखा होगा कि कुछ चीज़ों का नाम सुनते ही मुंह में सलाइवा ब्रेकिंग होने लगती है। गोलगप्पा, अगर सिंपली मैं गोलगप्पे का नाम लूँ तो शायद बहुत लोगों के मुंह में पानी आने लगेगा, लेकिन एक्चुअल में वो किस लेवल तक जाकर आपकी बॉडी को हेल्थ दे रहा है या वो कितना अनहेल्दी है, उसके लिए हमें अवेयर होना ज़रूरी है।
At least there are options for a good healthy eating, but how do you keep your metabolic rate or your digestion juices flowing really?
Yeah. So just adding to what was being said, that the purpose of fasting is really giving your system digestive rest.
Okay, that's true.
And digestive rest can happen when you have foods which are easy to assimilate and digest. So that is the purpose. And like she rightly said, there's an immune system deficit with every change in season, because the microbial flora inside gets imbalanced with the extreme temperatures and changes. So the way to reset it is to give it some kind of relief. So that therefore the philosophy of the fast is very important. But what we typically do is, what we are allowed to eat, we focus on that. अरे ये भी खा सकते हैं, अच्छा इसका ये बना देंगे, अच्छा इसका ये है तो इसका हम ब्रेड बना लेंगे, इसका कुछ, मतलब we constantly trying to evolve into making things which are palatable to our liking with the grains which are, so maybe somewhere we defeat the philosophy. So we should focus on being simple and eat more vegetables, or the vegetables which are permitted, and more fruits and lots of fluid, and eat only once a day, which is really what a fast is all about, and eat early. That's also part of the fast. So that is really a big important message to everybody who's going to be fasting for Navratras. And the use of alternative grains, like we already said, is very, very sound. You know, I think our forefathers and ancestors were far smarter than all of us. We didn't get the connections. Now, coming back to your question on whether we should, how do we digest it? So, I think today addressing food sensitivities is a very big area, because most of us today globally, not only in India, are suffering from what we call dysbiosis, which is a technical word for saying imbalanced gut flora. And that is coming from the foods which are not really something which we are going wrong with. It's just changed. The ecosystem has changed, agricultural practices have changed. And so what we were eating, what we are eating now to what our ancestors were eating, the wheat is not the same, the corn is not the same, it's all modified. And that is creating a lot of disturbance in our gut. So we need to first address that to get to how to digest our food. So if we are suffering from bloating, constipation, acidity, these are minor symptoms. Two other symptoms, like if we have autoimmune problems or skin problems or hair problems, these are all reflective of something going wrong in the digestion. And that's what Ayurveda said. That's what the Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, said. All diseases begin in the gut. So your food is in the direct contact of the gut. So what you put in is really critical. So figure out what you're reacting to. These are signs and symptoms of something not right. And you can do it in the Navratra time. I think that's a great time where, whether your digestion is not okay or okay, can be figured in the Navratra. If you feel better after 9 days of change of grain, there was something wrong that was in the grain itself.
So good time to reset your body.
Yes, and taking prebiotics and fiber-rich foods which are prebiotics, and pickles which are also fermented and give you the benefit of making good bacteria, and fermented foods have a functional benefit. So putting those back into the food
System.
Yes.
Priya, doctor, anything in Ayurveda, that also helps in, digestion or metabolic of the good bacteria, some massages that you would recommend or something,
See, massage is an external therapy, right? Let's first talk about the internal
Okay.
fix it, right? So there are so many foods that we know. There are simple which is available at home, like ginger, ginger and asafoetida, for example. There's lemon. Depending on what condition you have a lot of bloating, you can have a ginger tea, right? And if you are having any acid issues, there are a lot of cooling food items, like there is rock sugar, there is milk. And if you're obviously if you are allergic to dairy, you'll have to look for another option. But yeah, there are cooling foods. Depending on how your digestion is, you can decide what kind of food it should be there. Now, to instigate your digestive fire, ideal thing to do is to eat minimal quantities, right? And doing this fasting once in a while, that naturally improves your digestive fire. So you have a better metabolism. So that's a natural way of fixing internally. Now, talking about external therapies like massages and all, what it does is it improves the circulation in the body. So improved circulation repairs the damaged cells, like they get more nourishment, all the weak tissues get nourishment and they repair. So, and even that helps with digestion, of course it does, but internal fixing, I think that plays a crucial role than the external therapies.
the massage.
Yeah.
Okay, now you tell me something about, are there some points, acupressure, where I can help to, get digestion? You have all kinds of things up your sleeve, so tell us some.
इसमें जैसे कि मैम ने बात की है मसाज की और डाइट की, मैं बताना चाहूँगी कि नेचुरोपैथी की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो वहाँ पे एनिमा इज़ अ बेस्ट थेरेपी. अगर आप डेली एनिमा लेना शुरू करते हैं तो उसमें हमारा जो है गट हेल्थ हमारी इम्प्रूव होती है, हमारा डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम में बहुत अच्छा उसका रिजल्ट मिलता है. और इसके साथ साथ जो मेन चीज़ें हैं, जैसे एक्यूप्रेशर की जैसे आपने बात की, तो एक्यूप्रेशर में बताना चाहूँगी कि बॉडी के अंदर जो है जो मेरिडियन पॉइंट्स हैं उसमें जीबी हमारा स्टमक का 36 नंबर जो कि डायरेक्ट स्टमक से रिलेटेड है. अगर आपको हाइपर एसिडिटी की प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, आपका खाना प्रॉपर डाइजेस्ट नहीं हो रहा है, तो आप ST34, जो लोग एक्यूप्रेशर से जुड़े हैं उन लोगों को वो पॉइंट एग्जैक्ट लोकेशन पता होती है. नॉर्मली आप इस तरीके से फिंगर रखते हैं तो जहाँ पे आपकी फिंगर साइड पे आती है, नी के साइड में, वहाँ पे ST36 आता है. और अगर हम फिंगर की बात करें तो मिडल फिंगर में आपके सेकंड जॉइंट से ऊपर इंडेक्स फिंगर की साइड पे वो पॉइंट आता है, वहाँ पे जस्ट आप ग्रीन कलर के स्केच पेन से आप अगर कलर लगा के राइट एंड लेफ्ट दोनों हाथों में छोड़ देते हैं तो वो भी आपकी स्टमक हेल्थ को इम्प्रूव करने में हेल्प।
स्केच पेन से क्यों?
स्केच पेन से ग्रीन कलर चाहिए वहाँ पर हमें,
ग्रीन कलर
कलर थेरेपी में।
अच्छा,
और स्केच पेन लगा सकते हैं
हाँ।
आप, मेथी दाना लगा के टेप कर सकते हैं।
हाँ।
इट इज़ अ ST36 नंबर है, बहुत सिंपल सा है और स्टमक हेल्थ को इम्प्रूव करने में हेल्प करता है। इसके साथ अगर हमें गुड स्लीप चाहिए तो बहुत सारे लोगों को टेंशन्स बहुत होती हैं, स्ट्रेस लेवल बहुत हाई होता है। स्ट्रेस लेवल को अगर आप थोड़ा कम करते हैं और आपके टिप ऑफ द थंब जो है, अगर इस रीजन के ऊपर आप सिंपली ब्लू कलर लगाते हैं, आप देखेंगे कि थोड़ी देर बाद आपका माइंड जो है अपने आप रिलैक्स होने लगता है और आपको नींद बहुत अच्छी आएगी। आप यहाँ पे आप ब्लू कलर लगा दीजिए, बहुत सिंपल सा है, बहुत अच्छा रिजल्ट मिलता है। और पैर के तलवे में मालिश भी की जा सकती है। अगर आप पैर के तलवों में मालिश करते हैं तो उसका रिजल्ट बहुत अच्छा है। वो मैम बेटर जानती हैं इस चीज़ को।
हाँ।
और हमें मतलब मेन क्या है कि हमें फोकस ये करना है कि हमें अपनी बॉडी के ऊपर ध्यान रखना है। बॉडी क्या सिम्टम्स दे रही है, क्या साइंस आ रहे हैं, क्योंकि डॉक्टर तो डायग्नोज करता है, कुछ लोग टेस्ट से करते हैं, कुछ लोग जो है बॉडी स्ट्रक्चर से करते हैं, कुछ लोग आपकी जो स्टूल है, यूरिन है, उन चीज़ों से ऑब्जर्व करते हैं। लेकिन हमें खुद को भी इवैल्यूएशन करना सीखना चाहिए अपने लेवल पे, कि अगर हमने सुबह खाया तो शाम को कितना हमने उसको आउट किया।
ठीक।
अगर हम अवेयरनेस रखेंगे तो हम बहुत सारी चीज़ों में इम्प्रूवमेंट ला सकते हैं।
Well, thank you so much for this discussion and thank you all for taking part here. And we wish you all a very happy festive season, but keep it healthy, be mindful of your gut, eat well, eat right, and we'll see you again same time next week.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.